your stage. And I don't know if any of you saw the Nolan show one Wednesday night about 3 weeks ago. Well, there was a lady, Liz Cunningham, and I know Liz very well. And I was actually shocked because Liz came to present at a conference for us in the Titanic. The Titanic's event, any of you been in, it's beautiful. You're in this big room and this grand big staircase, and quite daunting really for an awful lot of people. And I was introducing the conference, and to my error, I normally get a brief of anybody who's coming up to speak. I hadn't checked Liz's age. So when I introduced her, she came up and she went, oh, seemed very far away from you all up here. And I looked at her and I thought, goodness, she was very young. She must be early 60s. Liz said, I'm Liz Cunningham. I'm 52 years of age and I was diagnosed with dementia when I was 48. I don't know if that gives you goosebumps, but it surely gives me goosebumps. But the good thing about Liz going on a programme like Stephen Nolan's, and I know that Sarah Travers and her programme is doing a follow-on. The good thing about it is that Liz raises the awareness in the community about dementia, but she also shows that you can continue to live well, that you're not just useless because you've had a dementia diagnosis, that you can continue to live well. And Liz lives her life now going around trying to promote communities to become dementia friendly. So if you ever have the opportunity of meeting her, do so. If you ever have the opportunity of being in conversation with anybody with dementia, believe me, they're the education you will not get in any book you have in your bag. They are absolutely an education to be enjoyed. 7 out of 10 people who have dementia live with another medical condition. Dementia will never be the reason that someone dies. Another underlying condition that they will take, predominantly heart failure or a pneumonia. So they're not just living with the struggle of concentrating and doing their everyday activities. Actually, 7 out of 10 of them will live with another disease as well. And comorbidity like that is what causes an awful lot of problems, and what really and truly is what causes people to need more formalised care. So 1 in 688 people in Northern Ireland are over 65, 1 in 40 over 65 have dementia, and 1 in 6 over 80. Once you cross over 90, and remember we have an ageing population and an increasing ageing population, once you cross 90, that's 1 in 2 people. Look at the person next to you. You reach the age of 90, someone in 2 years are almost guaranteed to have dementia. And that's scary. And dementia is not just forgetfulness. Remember that, it's not just forgetfulness. So if we look at the gap and where things are, as I said, the diagnosis rates in Northern Ireland, we're above the UK average. There's some places in England only, 33%, 35, 37% people are getting the diagnosis, and it's almost turned on its head for what we have. But what we're saying is, ours is still not good enough. So that we know we're not going to get 100%. But what we're looking for is that all the health trusts now work at getting 75% target. So that 75% of people have a diagnosis by 2017. It's not a big ask. It's really not a big ask. But currently we're sitting at that. Now the Western Trust, where you are living is, they have 68.7. The Western Trust and the Belfast Trust are 2 in the highest 6 areas in all of the UK. Their diagnosis rates are the highest. It doesn't mean more people with dementia, it just means more people are getting diagnosed. And without a diagnosis, you can't have the support, you can't have services if you don't have a diagnosis. To get the right help and support, a diagnosis is needed. So when symptoms start to show, and I would say if you're working in nursing homes with people who may not have dementia, but you form a bond with them, you form a relationship, and you start to see things a bit differently. And you start to see wee things like perhaps maybe they hide their underwear because they've had an accident and they're ashamed of it and they don't want to acknowledge it. Or you notice that they are starting to get thin, that they're not maybe eating. You, the people on the ground who are working with them on a daily basis, are the people who need to recognise that, are the people who need to report that. Because the manager of a nursing home won't always see that because they've got 100 people to see, but you've got 4 or 5 people in a day to work with. So when you're on the front line, it's really important that you build those relationships, that you understand how they're feeling, and that you report anything that you have. Some people are waiting 3 weeks. The Alzheimer's Society are now putting a push on all the trusts. Nobody waits any longer than 12 weeks for a diagnosis. And again, if you're waiting 12 weeks on a diagnosis for another disease, would you find it good enough? Probably not. And it is not a part of natural nature. So the research is that the benefits of a timely diagnosis, a report will be published in 2013, and that's showing the benefits of that kind of early diagnosis and things like that. And the other one then is that there's a pilot study going on exploring different interventions involved in leaflets, personal letters, explaining, trying to get people to actually go and get a diagnosis. But we need to start thinking outside the box. If somebody that you're looking after who has dementia would say to you, I'd love to go out for a walk. You don't ask the question, why can they not? Or how could they? You ask the question, why can they not? And I used to manage a residential home for people with dementia. Frequently staff would come up and say, Bernadine, can I take this and go out for a walk? And I asked the same question. They must have been tired and I asked the same question of him, why not? Give me one good reason why not. If they're double amputee, they have a double-sided chest infection and it's snowing outside, well no, you can't. But anything else, well, put on their coat, put on their scarf, go out, and why would you not? If somebody with dementia has been used to being in the ramblers, the spare ramblers, and they get a diagnosis of dementia tomorrow, does that stop them going rambling on the spares? And never underestimate the value of volunteers in informal and formal care, and predominantly informal care. And the argument in Northern Ireland constantly is, oh, you can't have volunteers, they can't be replacing paid workers. You can't have volunteers doing that. Well, what job can you not have volunteers do? Okay, it's a job that needs a registered nurse or a registered social worker, and a volunteer's not that, well, they can't do it. But if you were lost in the Mourne Mountains or the Sperry Mountains tonight, or you were out on the Irish Sea on a boat tonight, it is a volunteer that will save your life. It's a volunteer that will come out on the mountain rescue. It's a volunteer that will come out on sea rescue. So don't underestimate the value of volunteers in all of the care and the work scenarios that you might be going in. The benefits of a timely diagnosis, it reduces anxiety. At least 50% of the people, in fact 53 is the actual figure, of people who we talk to who get a diagnosis have told us it's a relief. It's actually what they think about it. It's not a dread, it's a relief. Because they've gone through waiting on a diagnosis, they've gone through all the scenarios. What happens if I don't recognise my family? What happens if I have a brain tumour? What happens if I'm taking a stroke and I don't know it? What happens if, what happens if? And actually to get a diagnosis and to get the information and realise I can continue to be a valued member, a valued citizen of my own community. I can remain to be active for quite a period of time, and I can continue to be part of my family life. That's a relief for people to know. With the diagnosis, they get access to treatments, information and support to improve the quality of their life. People will now tell us what help and support they want. And of those people we talk to, absolutely unanimously, they tell us they want to remain at home. They tell us they don't want to go to a nursing home. They want to remain at home. But considering we live in a community with not huge extended families, we have nuclear families, people are travelling away more for work and moving away. So you don't have the extended family, and it's not always possible for somebody to be able to remain at home. So we do need the nursing home care as well. Anyone else in? So talk to family friends and plan the future. Have any of you ever had a discussion with anyone, parent, grandparent? Have any of them ever talked to you about their worries about what happens? How do they, how do you plan the future? Do they ever consider what happens if I'm not around? They are scary conversations. The conversations that the sooner a younger generation like you start having, the less stigma we will have around lifestyle dementia, the less problems we will have when people actually come to me a diagnosis, because they will have talked about it. And I don't know if any of you are aware of a document called an enduring power of attorney. And an enduring power of attorney means that you actually nominate somebody else to look after your affairs if you can. And chances are some of you may be asked for parents or for grandparents to become a jury power of attorney in the future. Now it's not a heavy task, it's really not. But what it does mean is that if somebody loses capacity to make their own decisions, they've already nominated you to try and look after things for them. And they'll only do that if they trust you. And it's a very easy process to do. And one of the other things that if you want to Google and look at for your assignment work is the mental capacity bill is going forward in Northern Ireland. It has, in the last year, been out for consultation. We have a new bill, and the Minister of Justice, Minister David Ford, is trying to bring forward a new mental capacity act. So it is worth Googling for your assessments and your assignments, because it will change how people are allowed to do things, how people make decisions, and where they make them and how they make them. So access to an integrated, reliable, timely information support is critical. We have a campaign currently run at the minute called The Right to Know. Would any of you think or want to have any disease and the GP to decide? That's what's happening with people with dementia. We have health service personnel, we have GPs out there who are still saying, what's the point of giving them a diagnosis? You haven't got any cure. People have a right to know. It is their life, it is their body, and they have a right to know their diagnosis. They have a right to a dementia support worker as soon as they get a diagnosis. And there are three key areas that a young social movement like you can make a difference. Policy makers, people who are in government. When it comes next year to the election and somebody who wants elected turns up in your door, you won't ask them, what are you doing about my health service for me? Is there going to be a health service for me? You're the people who are going to make the difference, because it's going to be your life, your community, and if you want services and you want 100% of people getting a diagnosis for everything, but for dementia, considering the numbers that's coming at us, you're in a position to make a difference. You're starting your voting life, and you're in a position to make a difference. So people who are sitting in government, people who are making policies about health decisions, you're the community that it's going to affect, and you're the community who can best influence it. Supporters, anybody who supports any charity, if you're able to say to somebody, and after this today, I'll leave you a wee badge that says that you're a dementia friend. Now all that does is, and the only request of you is, that if somebody says to you, what's that, about a dementia friend? You'd be able to say to them, well, if you have any worries about dementia, contact the Alzheimer's Society. You're not expected to know huge amounts of information about it or nothing, but it just gives you that inroads and that opportunity. And I travel to England for work about twice a month. And I would say easily, at least once every second month, somebody will stop me and say, so what's dementia friend? What's that? And that's all we have to do. We have got to make a difference. You can make a difference as health professionals. You're looking to get your academic qualification here, you're going to go out into the workplace and you're going to be working with people who have dementia. You can make a difference, and you are the group that will make the difference. Alzheimer's Society provides services locally. We have a dementia support service, and the dementia support services is a person who will go and meet with you, who will go and meet the person with dementia, who will meet their carers, will meet them together or separately, whatever they want. We'll meet them in their own home, we'll meet them out. And we have befriending services. Now that's predominantly a volunteer-led service, and that's where people volunteer to go out and befriend somebody with dementia and take them out to be able for them to continue their life as active citizens within their own community. I might like abseiling and I have dementia. Well, if I go to the befriending service, the Alzheimer's Society will try and match me up with a volunteer who's prepared to go learn or who already knows to do abseiling, so that I can continue to do an activity that I want to do. Memory cafes and activity groups. Every Thursday in the Street Arts Centre in Omagh there is a dementia cafe. And that's a relationship-based activity. Because people with dementia say, I don't want to leave my mother in a day centre with Dan and O'Donnell on Look TV. I don't want to leave my husband. I'm married to him for the last 35 years. I don't want to hand him over to somebody else to look after. I want him and I to be able to do something together. So dementia cafes and activity groups are relationship-based, where the two people come together. The person with dementia gets peer support from other people with dementia that are there, and the carer gets peer support from other carers that are there. They get signposted to other services. They get different speakers in to be able to direct them and signpost them to different areas that they can get support from. Our advocacy service is what's called an independent advocacy service, and it's issue-based advocacy. And that is where our advocates will go out. Now, we cannot solve someone's problem for them, but we can ensure that the person with dementia's voice is heard. And all too often, once there's a diagnosis of dementia, their own voice is not heard. And it is amazing the number of families who think they know what the person with dementia wants, and insist that they will have a certain way for the person with dementia, and yet we are having advocates coming back and saying, actually, this person's telling me that's not what they want. They want something else. Increasingly, with people with communication difficulties as well with dementia, we're using technology. We're using iPads. We're using different things for them to be able to express themselves differently. It's about thinking outside the box. It's not, we've got to get away from this idea that somebody with dementia is a little old lady with a blue ring sitting in a nursing home. It's not, dementia could be me. So we have to think differently and think outside the box. And my one ask of you all today when I leave here is, somebody pigeonholes somebody with dementia, or somebody's, kind of go down that, challenge it. What have you got to lose? Ask the questions, why not? Don't just take it for granted. Take the courage, and if you get challenged back and say, mind your own business, say, look, go and talk to the Alzheimer's Society. Or we'd gladly go and talk to anyone. But challenge it. You're the society that's coming forward, and you're the people who can make a difference. CRISP actually means Care, Respite, Information Support Programme, and it is what it says. It's people getting information, it's getting support. We have friendship groups, signposting care information evenings. New services for 2015, we have, should have checked when I stole Denise's presentation. We have Singing for the Brain, and Singing for the Brain is really bringing the arts and bringing music in and how people with dementia can interact, and we've had some amazing results of that. People who had stopped communicating are now back communicating again and singing and enjoying it and getting involved and being active and getting motivated. We have a new dementia hub, and we actually have one for OMA, so I should have checked Denise's presentation when I took it. We have one in Lisbon City, but we have one opening in OMA at the top of Campsie there, where it used to be an estate agents called Turning Point. The Alzheimer's Society has taken that premises now, and we're turning it into a front-facing dementia hub. So in that dementia hub, there'll be a drop-in. There will be dementia support workers. There will be people who understand and give talks on dementia in communities, social aspect of it, and that provision of support and information for people to be able, and it puts us out on the high street. And whenever you go to sort of do something like a dementia hub, you think, well, where do I put it? Where do I put it, and what do we do? And you have to think about things like, is it close to public transport? Can people get to these? Is it visual? And hopefully every time, for the next couple of months, every time somebody stopped at the traffic lights, they go, oh, that's new, wonder what they do. If we only get 1% of those people coming through the door and saying, what do you do? Well, then we have had a success rate. All of our fact sheets, which maybe of use to you again for your assignments, are endorsed by the RCN, the Royal College of Nursing. They are free, they are reliable. You can download them from our website, or you can actually bring up to our helpline. Belfast has the only satellite helpline outside of the central helpline that's in London. So we're the only other office that actually has part of the helpline. And that is a low-cost number. It's not a free phone, but it is a low-cost number as well. Again, in your work on the front line, I would say to you, if you're working with people with dementia, try and think about who they are. And this can be either ordered from the Alzheimer's Society free of charge, or it can be downloaded. And it's, this is me, and it's got all the things in it that somebody does. I don't like their foods, like their times to sleep, their times to do other activities. And all too often, you can hear things in nursing homes like, well, sure, it's up since 4 o'clock. Whatever ever asked, he's probably a postman. Or he's thinking different things at different times of the year. Well, I never asked, who was this person? Who is me? What was their life? What did they do? What was their family like? Because what a farmer farmer that reared a family of 8 on a big farm and worked night and day and loved cows, very different needs from a lady who never married and worked one single job all her life and retired. But they both have dementia, and yet they're both pigeonholed into the same place, the same home, and expected to have the same level of care and the same type of care fit them. One size does not fit all. Not any of you, if I took 5 of you to stand up here now, none of you would necessarily want to have to wear the other one's clothes. None of you would necessarily want to have the other one's hairstyle. None of you would all want to have the same food for your dinner because you all like different things. Different dementia, really different. Dementia-friendly communities. That's our programme that we're trying to roll out. And in talking about dementia-friendly communities, what I hope I am leaving behind today is a group of dementia friends. So it's about recognising it, and you know the statistics that are in there, you know some of the things, you know it's not an aging process, natural aging process, how to get a diagnosis either through your GP and hopefully only within 12 weeks, and asking for a referral on to a specialist. Supporting people in their community. Last year we trained 2,500 transit riders to recognise dementia and to become more dementia friendly. There's currently a back of the bus campaign going on where there's notices on the back of the bus about dementia. And we're looking at training people who work in post offices, banks. The bigger supermarkets are coming to us, Tesco's, Sainsbury's, they're saying, teach us, tell us, these are our customers, we need to meet their needs. We have nursing homes, we have gone through the training. Locally, the domiciliary care company of Glen Caring has done the training. So there are companies, but it's about trying to make our community dementia friendly and increase and challenge the stigma of surrounding dementia. The 2-hour workshop, which is, you're getting a very condensed version of it today, on becoming a dementia friend. That will help you develop a better understanding of dementia. And actually the second presentation that you'll get, as well as this one, will ask you the questions that will give you some ideas on. Have a greater awareness of how to relate and how to communicate with somebody with dementia. Register your community or your business. And I would say to you, talk to the places that you go. Talk to the shops that you're in and ask them, are they dementia friendly? Would they consider it? Would they want to? And think about the places that you go that might be difficult for somebody. I have a short clip of the film, and it might just show you how small changes make a difference. Just press the blue one. Yeah.
I've forgotten. Should I?
Just sit down.
Yeah. Right. Oh, that way. I don't know. I don't know. Could you please? What? Chicken cheese?
Sorry.
People with dementia have experiences like this every day. A little bit of understanding, tolerance and patience can make all the difference.
I'll tell you what, if you go into the seats just there, when we get there, I'll call you, okay?
Okay, that's it.
Let me help you. This way. Thank you.
Can I look at that list?
Yes.
Chicken and cheese.
Let's go this way.
Thank you. Find out how to become dementia friendly. Contact Alzheimer's Society today.
And that was done by an actress, but it was done in consultation with people with dementia who have told us that these are the experiences they're having. So it's not something we're making up. We're actually taking it from people who know and who understand what it's like to live with dementia every day. Have any of you any questions? No?
Both groups are doing a module called Dementia Care as well,
Okay.
caring people with dementia.
Okay.
So this is so important to them, you know.
I mean, certainly if there any of the fact sheets, and the fact sheets, I think there's something like nearly 400 of them, everything from what is dementia to how to deal with challenging behaviour and all those, transport, travel, all the things that affects all of us. So you can download them free off the website. So if they're of any use to you for that. And just on that sort of challenging behaviour as a term that you'll hear a lot. And I would say to you, ask the question, challenging for whom? Challenging for whom? If somebody with dementia decides to get into bed with their clothes on, it's considered challenging. They're not changing for their nightdress. Who's it challenging for? It's challenging for the care assistant because the staff nurse is going to think she hasn't watched this person and she hasn't changed them into their 9 to 5. Is it challenging for the person with dementia? Did anybody ask them why they get into bed with their clothes on? Did they ask them, do you have any right to? That's what they want to. Challenge is the biggest factor we need if we're going to get rid of this thing. But they just go to the website or certainly I don't concerns at all with anybody to contact me directly if they want further information at any time.
Some of them, Bernadine, had asked me about younger people with dementia. They were sort of there's a little bit of I don't know if I'll say scaremongering, but this link maybe between younger people presenting with dementia-related symptoms and maybe binge drinking and drug abuse and things. Has there been any sort of research or evidence into that you know of, or is there more younger people presenting with?
There are more younger people presenting. Part of that is that it's been acknowledged as a physical disease and people are coming forward. We also have society and how we live has a bearing on it. Yes, the binge drinking and yes, the drugs, will definitely have an impact because for every time you're doing it, you're losing a certain amount of brain function, which is a form of dementia. It's a different type of losing brain function if it was Alzheimer's or losing brain function if it was Lewy body. That is what it is. And it will give you similar symptoms, the forgetfulness, the inability to concentrate, the inability to continue with certain activities, the inability to learn new skills. Those things, if that type of lifestyle is continued. It's also like vascular dementia, is on the increase. And that's because of the increase of strokes and the increase of cardiac vascular diseases and conditions. Because we have lived a life of fast food and not enough exercise. And until we turn that around, and those kind of preventative measures can give you a better quality of life and a reduced incidence of those kind of dementias.
And in terms of funding for it in the future, would some of them be advised to go into that area maybe? You know, if they were thinking
Work.
about nursing, if they were thinking about moving into different careers?
I would say yes. We're fighting for that, and currently in one of the big areas that we cannot offer somebody, and I as the director of an organisation, you know, have to look at how I can meet this, because I feel I'm failing. We can get people to support them to a certain level, but when they go into that very end stage of palliative care, we have to hand them over to somebody else. Well, you can accuse us of taking the soft option. Oh yeah, you can look after them when they still want to do things, and they still can take your information. But when it comes to the very difficult part for a family, when it comes to palliative care, what are you, the Alzheimer's Society, doing about it? And I've been asked that question. There isn't currently a single specialist end-of-life dementia nurse in Northern Ireland. There isn't a single one. The Northern Ireland Hospice and ourselves work together at trying to recruit one, but actually the numbers of people out there in the community that had both of those specialisms together didn't exist. So now one of the things we're looking at is possibly funding nurses who have already done qualifications in palliative care to perhaps maybe go on to their masters in dementia, or do some form of dementia qualification as well, so that they can marry the two up, because it will have to be taken forward that way. It really will. But we've got to be innovative. We've got to change how we think. I'm back studying. I was telling Claire, I'm back studying myself, and one of the things I have to do for an assignment, which is definitely giving me grey hair, so I'm lucky when you're doing it full time, is a business case about a new service or a new project. Now, people with dementia are telling us that they want to stay at home. So if my mother has dementia and I have to be away this weekend for the wedding, or I have to be away 3 days this week for my work, and I don't have any other backup, it means I have to take mum into a residential home, where she risks increased chance of infection. She comes back out disorientated, lots of problems. So the project and the business plan that I'm looking forward is a bit like an organisation, predominantly in England, that do something like shared lives. Now, shared lives is almost like fostering for older people or people with learning difficulties. But I want to do it in reverse. I want that live-in stroke foster care to go into the person's own home, so the person with dementia is not being taken out of their own home. So we're only starting now at the start of your career path to look at things being more innovative. And because of the incidents, because of the figures you've just seen there, government have to. And the most recent information I can give you is that 2 days ago, on the 17th of March, the World Health Organization ran a dementia summit in Geneva. And there were 80 countries represented at that. 80 countries. And they have all agreed we have to do something about this. We've got to commit the funds. We have to commit the funds to two areas, to the research for cure and to the support for people as well. So as recent as that, that's the kind of level of commitment you're getting to resource it, to fund it. I've worked in dementia care 25 years. I wouldn't work anywhere else. And I've worked in residential nursing care, I've worked in community, I've worked in the charitable sector. I wouldn't work in any other area of healthcare.
I wonder, are we so far away now? Are we getting a wee bit closer to finding some sort of drugs that people can take to sort of try and stay off the effects?
Yes, no, I think we are moving. I mean, in 25 years, I could honestly say I've really only seen progress and changes in the last 5. It was at a stagnant point up until that, but in the last 5 years, I am seeing changes. And the change is about commitment to funding it. We have a drug discovery program where drugs are very, very expensive to get, and it takes anything up to 15 years to get a drug from discovery of research to actually being on the market. That can take 15 years. So they're now looking, and that's a very expensive time, but when they come off license and they may have other uses, we're now looking into research and looking for the uses that some of these drugs that have come off license, are any of them any good? Can we use them, because they've become dirt cheap now? So everything from paracetamol to Viagra is being researched to see if they can be of any use to any other condition, because they're so cheap now.
Did anyone else have any questions?
If anybody doesn't want to ask a question publicly, please feel free to contact me directly. Claire has my contact details.
In their assignments, obviously ask ask them to look at all the different types of dementia, and they have to look at all the signs and symptoms and the effects.
Yeah.
Is that something they could get from the Alzheimer's Society website?
Absolutely. It's all there and it's in the fact sheets, just download them.
Right.
No problem at all.
We were thinking as well, Bernadine, that the room we're in today is the ideas room. So this is where all the innovation and ideas are generated, and we have 3D printers that actually make products and things. So we were thinking maybe if students had ideas, say for something like, say, an app for somebody with dementia, you know, if those kind of things weren't available at the minute, it might be something for the college to look at.
To either the digital team or our research team within the Alzheimer's Society.
Yeah, okay.
And we have a fairly large directors of both.
Because as you say, it's all about the technology now and using iPads and all of that sort of thing, which can make life a lot easier. And just even looking at the old lady trying to work the card, I mean, and it's all about that.
I remember a 4-pin code, a 4-letter code or a 4-number code when you haven't the ability to learn new things anymore. So I mean, the sooner we bring in iris recognition, your iris recognition or fingerprint recognition. I mean, I don't know how you work here in the college, but in a lot of schools now, you know, young people don't carry money anymore. They want to get food in the middle of the day, they use their fingerprints, and it's pre-loaded. And that's something that people with dementia could do, but that they wouldn't have that bother with 4 numbers. You know, so
it's a bother for a lot of us to remember passwords.
You're right.
Yeah, we have all kinds of
dementia. Do you remember, Bernadine, you had pictures of a rug?
Yeah.
And how, remember the rug? What was the rug about again? Remember there was a rug that was in a living room?
The rug was the visual perception, and it was where somebody would cross from that green onto this grey, how we would think nothing of it, we'd walk from one to the other, but actually the rug was just a coloured rug in a nursing home, and people stopped because they thought it was a lily pond.
Yeah.
Water with flowers on it, but I think Claire has that.
I have that presentation. If you want me, I could put it up if you want.
You know. And there was the wee door stopper, remember, in the kitchen. They wouldn't go into the kitchen because they thought it was a...
The door stopper that was at the side of a stainless steel bin, and they wouldn't go in beside it because they actually thought there was a mouse in the kitchen, but it was a reflection of a door stopper on a stainless steel bin.
Yeah.
And the other place that people have difficulties is dealing with mirrors. They frequently, when they go towards a room, won't go into the room because they think someone's in it, predominantly a bathroom, but actually it's their own reflection on a mirror they're seeing, and a lot of people do not recognise themselves in a mirror. Do not recognise themselves in a mirror.
So it can be very frightening, can't it? Claire, don't worry about it. We'll get it to the students at another date if it's...
They haven't printed
well, that's okay. So listen, folks, this is your opportunity now to ask Bernadine any more questions, particularly for Claire or our units. Bernadine, interestingly there, you said about the legislation as well. It does talk about that.
Yeah.
Describe legislation frameworks, and you talked about the enduring power of attorney.
Yeah, and that will come and be more formalised. We only have enduring power of attorney here. We don't have lasting, we have enduring. And that will all change and become more formalised and be rolled out with the new Mental Capacity Act.
Yeah.
You also then have the Care Acts and all the regulation and legislation that the RQIA work under and that they inspect under. So that's another part of it for assignments. If you wanted to references, go on to the RQIA website, and that will give you legislations and acts that they have to be inspected against, and that the people who are providing that level of care must work under.
Is that it? Did you have anything to do? Was it your lifespan development, Claire? Was it? Did you?
Yeah. The primary task is all about issues around aging and some of the diseases and problems and conditions that can result from aging, and then we also look at provision in that primary task.